After 19 years of marriage, Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban are divorcing, and everyone is just shocked. An interesting thing about this is that they actually separated in June. According to TMZ, reports were saying that Nicole wanted to save this marriage, but Keith, on the other hand, did not. And allegedly, his inner circle was saying that he had already moved on with another woman. Today, we're getting the news that Nicole filed for divorce from Keith Urban. And apparently, this is due to irreconcilable differences. Probably just a real fancy way of saying, like they weren't getting along. According to their parenting plan, we know that the kids are going to spend 306 days with Nicole and 59 days with Keith. They also agreed that all major decisions involving their kids, including education and healthcare, will be made together, and they will each retain their own assets, which suggests that there is probably a prenup involved. They got married back in 2006. They have 2 kids, one is 14 and one is 17, which makes this whole situation just more heartbreaking. I think a lot of fans were just like, what do you mean they broke up? Like, this is really shocking news. Picture this: Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban, Hollywood's golden duo, the flawless power couple that made love look effortless. She's the Oscar-winning Queen of Grace. He's the country superstar who turned heartache into hits. Together, they looked untouchable. But behind the cameras and the glitter was a story no one saw coming. Silent tears, emotional distance, and the love slowly unraveling under the weight of fame. This isn't your typical breakup story. It's about truth, strength, and the quiet power of starting over when the world expects you to stay perfect. So, buckle up, because what really happened between Nicole and Keith might just change how you see them forever. Picture it: 2005, Hollywood glitz everywhere. Nicole Kidman, already an Oscar queen, walks into a gala, radiating elegance. Cameras flash, reporters whisper. Everyone wants a piece of her energy. Across the room, Keith Urban, the country superstar with that effortless smile, spots her. And just like that, spikes fly. He notices the way she laughs, the way she carries herself. And for him, it's instant. Suddenly, it's not just another celebrity encounter. Keith starts sending her poems, little notes tucked into flowers, late-night calls full of charm and warmth. Nicole, who's been through heartbreak and Hollywood scrutiny before, can't help but smile. Friends notice it. Something's different this time. It's not just romance. It's a connection. Weeks turn into months, and their story begins quietly in private dinners and whispered conversations away from the cameras that will soon chase them everywhere. Fast forward to 2006. Sydney. The city is buzzing. The streets are alive with paparazzi flashes as Nicole and Keith prepare for their wedding. It's the ultimate fairy tale moment, a stunning ceremony. Celebrities everywhere. Fans lining the streets. Every detail is perfect. Media headlines call them Hollywood's perfect couple, a love story everyone envies. Nicole tells her friends Keith is her rock, the one steady thing in a life that's never been predictable. For a moment, it seems like the world has stopped just to watch them glow. But behind the smiles, the gowns, and the songs, tiny cracks are forming. Quiet moments of tension, long days apart, the pressures of fame lurking at the edges. Because even in a fairy tale, perfection carries a cost. And for Nicole and Keith, that golden beginning filled with letters and candlelit dinners was only the start of a journey that would test their hearts, their patience, and everything they thought they knew about love. As Nicole's acting career takes off globally, the world can't get enough of her. Every premiere, every award, every red carpet, she's unstoppable, dazzling at the top of her game. But while she's flying from one city to the next, Keith is living a different kind of whirlwind. Tour after tour, concert after concert, he's pouring everything into his music, performing for thousands, always moving, always on the road. At first, they try to make it work. Late-night phone calls from hotel rooms. Video chats squeeze in between flights. Stolen weekends together whenever schedules allow. But slowly, the distance starts to take its toll. Calls go unanswered. Texts are left unread. The laughter they once shared over quiet dinners now feels strained, forced even. Insiders begin to notice the tension. Friends whisper about how the couple, once inseparable, now seems like they're living parallel lives. On the surface, they're the same perfect pair the camera sees. Nicole is glowing at premieres, and Keith is charming the crowds. But behind closed doors, something is shifting, and the old rumors about Keith's past struggles with addiction quietly resurface, adding another layer of stress to a relationship already stretched thin. No one talks about it publicly, but those who know say the pressure is mounting. Every missed call, every lonely night, every quiet hotel room alone chips away at the bond they built. The cracks aren't visible on the red carpet. The smiles, the poses, and the awards all look flawless. But behind the glitz and glamour, love is losing its rhythm. Every moment part, every silent conversation, every sigh in the darkness, it's all adding up. And slowly, inevitably, the fairy tale that began with such dazzling perfection starts to show its first real fractures, proving that even the strongest Hollywood love stories aren't immune to distance, stress, and the heavy weight of fame. Tabloids went into overdrive. Rehab rumors, whispered fights, emotional breakdowns, headlines swarmed with cracks no one could ignore. Yet Nicole remained flawless in public, always composed, always poised. To reporters, she smiled and said, "Marriage is about patience and love," the perfect Hollywood soundbite. But behind the smiles, behind the carefully styled hair and sparkling gowns, her eyes told a different story. There was exhaustion there, sadness, a quiet weight that no camera could capture. Every interview, every public appearance carried a hint of longing for something simpler, something real. By 2023, fans began to notice the distance. The couple who once seemed inseparable no longer appeared together on red carpets. Solo appearances became the norm. Whispered speculation ran rampant online. Every paparazzi shot is dissected for hidden meaning. And then it happened. The announcement everyone feared. Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban were divorcing after 17 years of marriage. The official statement was measured, careful, and almost peaceful. But anyone paying attention could feel the tension behind it. The real story, the late-night phone calls, the long separations, the private heartbreak, wasn't in the press release. And then Nicole spoke. For the first time, she broke her silence, opening a small window into the pain she had carried quietly for years. She hinted at the private struggles, the lessons learned, and the inner strength it took to rebuild her life after a love that once seemed unshakable. Fans saw not just a star, but a woman who had survived heartbreak with grace, who turned loss into growth, who refused to let a public image define her private journey. The divorce wasn't just an ending. It was a transformation, a reminder that even Hollywood royalty faces love's hardest truths, and that sometimes the bravest thing a person can do is to finally reclaim their own story. The cameras were rolling, but this wasn't another polished, rehearsed interview. No PR team, no teleprompter, no carefully crafted sound bites. Just Nicole sitting in a softly lit studio, calm, poised, but raw. She leans in and says something that stops the world in its tracks. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting, and love can't heal what's not honest. The pause hangs in the air. Millions of viewers pause their scrolling, social media explodes, and the internet becomes a storm of reactions. For once, Nicole isn't a movie star playing a role. She's a woman speaking her truth, owning her heartbreak, and showing the quiet strength it takes to survive it. She continues, almost whispering, "You fight for something long after it's already gone." There's weight in those words, the kind of weight only someone who has lived a public life, a private pain, and the scrutiny of the world can carry. Fans rally behind her instantly, sharing clips, quotes, and support. Others can't help but dissect every syllable, wondering what really went wrong, which moments pushed a marriage built on love into silence. But Nicole doesn't name Keith. She doesn't need to. Her silence is louder than any headline, more telling than any confession. Every tilt of her head, every measured pause, every quiet sigh communicates what words cannot. And there's a vulnerability in that silence that makes the message hit harder. She isn't angry. She isn't bitter. She's honest. She's reclaiming her story, her life, her narrative on her terms. It's powerful. It's intimate. And it's unforgettable. For millions watching, it's not just gossip or news. It's a revelation. Even the most perfect Hollywood love can fracture. And the bravest act isn't hiding the cracks, but showing them and still standing tall. While Nicole speaks, Keith retreats. The country superstar who once owned every stage, who could charm tens of thousands with a wink and a smile, disappears from the public eye. No interviews, no appearances, no late-night shows. The man who made heartbreak sound beautiful now hides from it. Insiders say he's writing music again, but alone at night in the quiet, filled with reflection, regrets, and perhaps even sorrow. Then a track leaks, raw, haunting, and impossibly personal. Lyrics like, "You can fake a smile for the crowd, but you can't lie to the mirror." Every note drips with confession, a story told in melody instead of words. For the first time, Keith isn't performing for fans. He's confessing to himself, pleading to the universe, revealing what he can't say aloud. Those lyrics aren't just music. They're a mirror into his soul. Fans listen and feel the weight of choices made, the distance built over years, and the cost of love lost under the spotlight. Keith's silence becomes a message of its own. Every solo night writing in his studio, every lyric painstakingly crafted speaks volumes. It's regret. It's longing. It's the private heartbreak of a man who once shared his life openly, now turned inward. The world watches through the cracks of his music, seeing a side of Keith Urban that no red carpet or awards show ever revealed. He isn't a performer here. He's a man trying to understand love, loss, and himself, reminding fans that even the brightest stars can fall, and that they must face the hardest truths alone. After years of silence and private struggles, Keith finally takes a step back and looks at himself. Therapy sessions, sober nights, and quiet reflection become his routine. He's no longer performing for the world. He's performing for himself, facing regrets and the truths he once avoided. Slowly, his music transforms. Lyrics grow raw, honest, and haunting, revealing a man who has faced his mistakes and is trying to make amends in his own way. "The Woman I Lost," a track written from the depths of his heart, feels like a confession. It's as if every note carries a weight of apology, a recognition of what he's lost, and a hope for redemption. Fans hear it, and they know this isn't just another country song. This is Keith Urban laying himself bare, revealing the human behind the superstar. Meanwhile, Nicole flourishes. Her career skyrockets, earning critical acclaim award after award. But she doesn't stop there. She channels her own struggles into action, launching a foundation to help women heal from emotional trauma, turning personal pain into purpose. "No one should lose themselves trying to fix someone else," she tells a journalist. And it resonates. She becomes a role model, not for glitz or glamour, but for strength, resilience, and authenticity. Hollywood begins to see her in a new light, not as a victim of heartbreak or tabloid scandals, but as a survivor A woman who chose her own path, reclaimed her narrative, and transformed suffering into something meaningful. Every appearance, every speech, every film role carries the quiet power of someone who knows what it means to lose and to rise again. Years pass, and life moves forward. Fate brings Nicole and Keith together at a quiet charity gala. No cameras, no reporters, no flashbulbs, just two people who share a life, meeting not as exes, but as humans who understand what they've been through. Nicole smiles warmly, saying softly, "It's good to see you doing well." Keith responds quietly, "Thank you." It's brief, almost understated, but the moment is loaded with understanding, forgiveness, and unspoken respect. Later, Keith reflects in an interview. Sometimes closure doesn't come from words. It comes from forgiveness. That's the heart of it. No grand gestures, no public reconciliations, just acknowledgement, understanding, and moving forward with peace. Their story, once sensationalized in tabloids as scandal, drama, and heartbreak, now transforms into something else entirely: serenity. The past is honored, mistakes are acknowledged, but bitterness has no place. Both have learned that life continues beyond love lost. And sometimes the greatest strength is found in letting go with grace. Nicole emerges as a symbol of grace and resilience. A figure who teaches the world that healing isn't about revenge. It's about freedom. Her foundation grows, touching lives globally, helping women reclaim themselves from trauma and heartbreak. On screen, she shines brighter than ever, embodying roles that demand depth, vulnerability, and courage. Keith, on the other hand, channels his reflections into his later music, writing songs with honesty, mentoring younger artists, and showing that even a superstar can confront mistakes and grow from them. They never reunite romantically, but both find peace, living fully in their own lives. Nicole's words echo worldwide. The end of love isn't the end of life. It's the beginning of becoming who you're meant to be. It's a mantra from millions, proof that endings can be beginnings, heartbreak can lead to growth, and walking away can be an act of courage. Their story evolves from tabloid fodder to a lesson in humanity, resilience, and self-discovery. In Hollywood, a place obsessed with scandal, their journey becomes something rare, a real story of reflection, redemption, and quiet strength. At the end of it all, their story isn't just about fame or heartbreak. It's about truth, resilience, and the courage to face life honestly. Two people who broke, learned, and rose again. Fade out with B-roll of Nicole, glowing at award ceremonies, speaking to crowds, smiling with quiet confidence. Keith is performing alone on stage, eyes closed. Music carries both regrets and hope. End card. Sometimes walking away isn't weakness, it's wisdom. If Nicole's story inspired you, hit like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more real Hollywood stories only here on Celeb Pulse.